Hey guys, it's Scarce here. We had a lot of news come out, and what's that? I'm not really scarce? Well, that's a mighty fine observation you have there, viewer. Yes, this is my commitment to dress up in various Halloween costumes as Halloween comes closer. Today, I'm dressed as Scarce, and I've attempted to emulate the look with about the only flannel I have here. Shout outs to my homeboy Scarce. Maybe next time I'll dress up as Keemstar, and I'll start the video by saying Alex is a stupid. First up, we have inside every Xbox One, there is a Master Chief riding a scorpion. I mean, like, I'm just laughing thinking about it because they do this a lot. In previous iterations of different things, different pieces of tech, hardware that they always bring out, Microsoft does, they always put something like a reference to something somehow, some way, shape, or form. And this one happens to be Master Chief riding the Scorpion. Now, this is a reference to the old project name that it used to be called, Project Scorpio, so that was its original name, and this kind of makes reference to that. And of course, Master Chief is their kind of, flagship character there. So it's really nice that they haven't given up the Master Chief. Really appreciate that, even though Halo is kind of going downhill very fastly. Hopefully they'll fix that with the Xbox One X's release of Halo 6. So it's a mini Master Chief. It's riding a Scorpion. I don't really have to talk about this anymore, but there you go. So that's pretty cool to know that it's put and imprinted on every single motherboard. So if you buy an Xbox One X, you'll have a tiny Master Chief riding a Scorpion with you at all times. Street Fighter V is finally to get an arcade mode next year. This is going to be a separate game that is priced at $39.99. It's an arcade edition, and it's going to be released January 16th, so not over the holidays. Oh well, there's a few new features. It's going to come with codes to get the DLCs for characters of Season 1 and 2, but it states that these will still only be unlockable through the in-game means for current players. So I'm not really sure what they're trying to say with that. Take it for what it's worth. The arcade mode is going to introduce arcade mode, of course, but that's where you choose 6 different paths for themed after classic Street Fighter games. There's going to be Gallery, which is going to unlock hundreds of illustrations that you can play through arcade mode to get. Extra Battle, which is a complete timed challenge to obtain exclusive costumes throughout 2018. New V triggers for each character. Will now have 2 V triggers, which is adding even more in-depth to the combat system. Look, I'm just reading this out, so whatever they write, they write. And then there's going to be new visuals, so okay, so they're just upscaling it and things like that. They do mention that for the players of the original version and the arcade edition across PS4 and PC will be part of the same online player pool. So I guess they're going to have to roll out an update to make it all compatible, but there you go. If you're a big fighting game enthusiast, that's coming your way, and if you're into Street Fighter V, I guess that's good news for you. So BlizzCon had announced that there's going to be no new Diablo announcements this year, but they did say that they were busy at work on the next Diablo, which is really good. I think Diablo 3 went over very well, so we'll probably be waiting till way past 2020 for the next Diablo. But Blizzard.net does get some new social features. It seems like they're going the path of like social integration, but not to the point where they're saying, here, connect with Facebook or Twitter, but they're putting it in themselves. So it's very similar to Discord. In fact, the social looks almost identical to the Discord's layout, with your friends on the right, groups on the left, and the chat rooms and the different channels in kind of to the right of all the way left, and then you have your main chat. So that's very interesting that they have that going on. I think that's pretty cool, especially if you're really into Blizzard games like MMORPGs like World of Warcraft or the aforementioned Diablo. So Nintendo is making one final Miiverse community to say goodbye. Once again, I covered this in a story before, but this is pretty sad because you see a lot of posts talking about how the Miiverse has been and how it's treated them and what it's done for them. A lot of people really like the Miiverse, despite people saying, did anyone actually use it? Yeah, a lot of people really liked it. It's a shame to see it go. There were some really, really skilled artists out there that did a lot with just black and white and a stylus. So 10 out of 10. My personal favorite is it looks like somebody is doing archaeology and it says AD 3017 and he discovers some video games, and the Miiverse is on the Nintendo Wii U pad. So it's really, really cool looking. I like that one a lot. So here's an interesting one. Apparently, allegedly, Jeff Kaplan bans player from Overwatch forums for 30 days for saying the balanced team needs to be replaced. And I know from playing the game in the past that basically you can get a bad team, you can get a good team. It's very strange how the system picks, but even good players can have bad days or just days where they don't feel like doing anything or carrying their share. Basically what ended up happening is that a player named Devon posted on the Overwatch forums about the game's balance, saying that the current state is outrageous and that the balancing team needs replaced. And Kaplan didn't like that comment. If you don't know who Jeff Kaplan is, he's apparently the game's director. So that's a really high public position. Quote, make a productive post either clearly stating an issue that you're having or make a productive suggestion, he wrote. Quote, we won't tolerate demands of people being replaced on these forums. See you in 30 days. All I have to say to that is, you sound like a baby having a temper tantrum. You have thousands of people who are going to crap all over your game every single day. There are toxic players out there. There are people who are going to be toxic either unwillingly, unconsciously, subconsciously, or willingly in the forefront, and that's what they do. And you ban this one player and you say, oh, I need constructive criticism. And I talk about that a lot. I say, why do you comment toxic stuff? Just label these people as toxic, ignore them, don't engage with them, don't argue with them. But why would you ban a player for a post like this? We won't tolerate demands of people being replaced on these forums. I think he was just in general talking about the teams, the balancing of the teams. I've played games before where it's just a multiplayer online shooter, and it could be various different types of games like Halo or Destiny, and I've had players come in that were really, really good and helped me and did well, and we did well, and we beat the team. And I've also had players get thrown on my team that are absolutely terrible. They are horrible at the game. They don't know what they're doing. They rush in. They give the enemy kills all the time. And this is a balancing issue. How does a computer AI know exactly how I play, even after it studies me? I don't know. I can't tell you. It really does depend on the AI itself and how it works. But without question, I think a lot of people really dislike Overwatch for the people that it throws on their team, which causes them to lose games and D-rank, and it can be upsetting at times. It's hard to accept that you're the bad player sometimes and that you need to get better as well. But at the same time, I have seen it numerous times where people just get crapped on because they have a bad team. This happens, and it's very unfortunate. So I think Jeff Kaplan needs to take some criticism here and stop getting tired of it, and remember that he's a public face of Blizzard and Overwatch. So that's my entry, that's my thoughts on this. What do you think? Leave me it in the comments down below. Now, the final story I want to conclude on, and this is the big one. I know that Blizzard one, that one was kind of big, but here's the big one. Polygon has produced an article called When Is Exclusion a Valid Design Choice? And this is in relation to Cuphead. The subtitling the difference between what you earn and what you're owed. I understand where this article is coming from. This person does a pretty good job of addressing both sides of the argument. So Cuphead is a notoriously difficult game. It's hard. But then again, throughout history, we've had very difficult games, and they've sold well or they've sold bad because of poor game design. So let me make the example right now. You go through the Angry Video Game Nerd's catalog of games that he's played and look at some of the NES games. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, infamously difficult, notorious game, but it's not fun. It's not rewarding. It's not a good game because it's a bad game design. You look at a game like Contra, notoriously difficult, fun to play, even has a code to help you through the game. Very difficult one-hit kills, but rewarding because you can play through it, you can beat it, as exciting, enticing mechanics, always wanting to get you to the next stage as the reward. This is the argument that they're making here, that the game should have an easy mode, that there should be a way to skip boss battles, or skip straight to bosses and do something to where you're playing through the game and not just a boss rush mode, but to be able to basically walk through the game. Previously, games have introduced this as well, like in Super Mario 3D Land, where you got the gold Tanuki suit if you failed a number of times on a certain level, but you didn't really get the rewards for doing that. It just lets you go through the level invincible. Now, one could say that that's making the game too easy and it's walking you through the park. And another could say, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to beat this level, so I'll just quit the game anyways. So at least if it gave me a way to beat the game, I would continue playing it. Maybe the next level will just be a little bit easier. And traditionally, in the past, throughout certain games, there have been numerous levels that belong in infamy. They're not good. They're not fun to play. I mean, let's talk about every water temple in The Legend of Zelda. Come on, man. There are places that you don't want to go through, but that is how games are. The arguments here cited are that movies don't ask you to do some puzzle that culminates what you've learned in the last 2 hours to see the ending. Books don't ask you to do a logical, skill-based challenge before getting to the final page of the book. And I understand that, but video games are not movies and they are not books. I think Cuphead's difficulty is perfectly fine. If you want to get good at the game, get good at the game and overcome it. If you don't, and I'm sorry about your luck. But diminishing the difficulty because a percentage base, the majority of people out there who are casual gamers can't get through the game, oh well, you shouldn't have bought the game, you should have watched some reviews. Maybe you bought it on a whim, maybe you feel bad about your purchase, but at the end of the day, you're still ending up catering to a casual player base who might pick up your game for a few hours, drop it, and never interact on your forums ever again, never talk to anyone, never play the game ever again. They played it one time and it was a one and done. They played through it, it's finished. Maybe it'll entertain them for a week and that's it. And a lot of people are like that. But if you cater to a hardcore fan base, you know exactly who your fans are, and you cater to them, you will have a community build up just like Dark Souls. Now again, I'm not comparing this game to Dark Souls. I think this game is more akin to the original Mega Mans or Contras. And no one really complains about the original Mega Mans being too difficult because you learn your lesson. If you die and you restart way back at the beginning, it sucks. You might cuss, you might be upset, but you learn. You learn the patterns and you get better at the game. And when you beat that game, you get bragging rights. So for me personally, Cuphead could introduce an easy mode, and I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that, but with that, I would say introduce some achievements, some unlockable content, some special rewards, so that if players choose not to use the easy mode, then they can play through the game, and they can unlock those things, and get an achievement or something to say, hey, I actually beat Cuphead on the hardest setting, on default setting, and I didn't cop out and I didn't use easy mode. This is an inclusion versus exclusion game design argument, and which side are you on? Me being a traditional hardcore gamer, I absolutely love the difficulty in many games. If it's too difficult, it's too difficult and I suck and I need to get better. If it's too easy, then it's boring and I don't like to play it. So at the end of the day, I would rather be able to rise to the challenge than have the challenge way below my skill level and never be able to come higher. How do you feel about this? Leave your comments section below. I've been yours, Protomario. I'm sorry, Scarsario? Is Mario Airs? No. Scarsaria. That's the closest I can do for you. I'm the scarce of video game news, as people have put it. So here you go. I'm dressed as scarce. You guys have yourselves a great day. Leave me a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave me a dislike and a constructive comment down below about what I can do better. If you didn't like this video, please tell me what I can do better, because I want to be the best. I want to be the very best, as someone once put it. You guys have yourselves a great day. I've been your host. I'm signing out. As always, good gaming. God bless, and I hope you guys enjoy your weekend.